Kutaki no Ha, episode 25, Friday, August 18th, 2006.
Are you ready?
Welcome back to Kutaki no Ha, the podcast dedicated to the Bujinkan martial arts of Masaaki Hatsumi Soke and to the spirit of cooperation and friendship in the Bujinkan community. I'm Shawn, your host for the podcast. This episode is coming out a little bit late, and that's largely due to just some explosive stuff that happened at work and people quitting and me having to work longer hours as a result and getting not enough sleep and all this kind of stuff. So, coming out about a week later than I had originally anticipated, but thanks for your patience, and I hope you're still hanging in there and staying subscribed and staying listening to the podcast. As some people may have noticed on the Kutaki forums, Eva from Hungary let people know that she was over here for a 2-week training trip, and it was good to see her in Japan, and I think she got to meet a few other fellow Kutaki villagers who she'd only known online up until she came to Japan. and she had a really good time here and really enjoyed the training. And so I've talked to her a little bit last night, just before she left to go back to Hungary, about a little bit of her experiences during the time she was here. And so we'll be hearing that recording, as well as Rob Renner is back with his training segment too this episode, and we're going to have a little bit more music as well, along with a little bit of Japanese news. Before we get into that, though, I'd just like to remind people about the sticker campaign that I've been trying to promote the last few episodes. However, as of now, I still only have 2 postcards, so this sticker campaign is just not going very well. So I don't know if it's just all you guys are just like not postcard people or what, but that's cool. Anyway, I got 2 awesome postcards, and stickers will be going out to those 2 people in the very near future. If you would like to get a Kutaki no Ha podcast sticker, all you have to do is send me a postcard to the address which is listed on the podcast blog page, which is at www.kutaki.org/podblog. The address is listed in the show notes for episode 22 or 23. And if you send me a postcard to that address with your address also on the postcard, I will send you a Kutaki no Ha podcast sticker. So rush out to your postcard stand and then rush over to your post office and tell the post office to rush the postcard to me, and then I will get a sticker to you.
This is Podgy from Podgy Tokyo Talk, and you are listening to Kutaki no Ha, the podcast all about Kutaki, I think. And it's ha, but that's not a funny ha-ha, that's a wave ha-ha. The wave of Kutaki. Listen, if you're a martial artist and you're interested. If you're not interested and you're not a martial artist, don't listen to it. Listen to me, Podgy Tokyo Talk. Bye.
And in Japanese news this week from the BBC News website, Japan fisherman killed by Russia. A Japanese fisherman has been shot dead by a Russian patrol boat near a chain of disputed islands, the first fatality in 50 years, media reports said. Japan's foreign minister demanded the release of 3 other fishermen who were detained by the Russian boat. Russia expressed regret, but said the boat had entered its territory and said such breaches should not happen again. Both sides claimed the 4 islands, which Russia calls the Southern Kurils, and Japan the Northern Territories. The dispute has stopped the 2 nations signing a peace treaty to end World War II. The islands were seized by the Soviet Union at the end of the war in 1945. Russia has said it will hand over some of the islands to Japan, but Tokyo insists all 4 should be returned. The Russian patrol boat opened fire on the Japanese vessel after it was found in Russian waters and refused to stop, according to Russian media. The Russian Coast Guard insisted that the vessel defied several orders to stop and made dangerous maneuvers, according to the ITAR TASS news agency. The boat and its 3 remaining crew have now been taken to one of the disputed islands. The BBC's Chris Hogg in Tokyo says fishing disputes are common in the area, and Russian border patrols often try to capture Japanese fishermen. But the last time a Japanese citizen was shot dead by a Soviet vessel was nearly 50 years ago. So, a little bit of provocative behavior up there in the northern part of Japan, and it seems that Japan and Russia are technically still at war over World War II, since they haven't actually signed a peace treaty to end it because of these 4 little dots in the ocean on the top of Hokkaido. One would hope after 50 years or so they could kind of patch things up, but we'll have to wait and see how that develops over time. On to more progressive things now. Rob Renner is back with his training segment, and this segment is called Progressive Impact Training. So here's Rob with his segment.
Hello, I'm Rob Renner, and welcome to the training segment of the Kutaki no Ha podcast. After having several people talk to me about working with primary distance, what they found was it worked well at slow speeds, but when they started picking up the tempo, they found they were having trouble maintaining the correct primary distance. After speaking with them a little bit and also seeing this and training myself many times, the reason for it is the flinch response. So as the speed starts picking up, the fear of getting hit kicks in, causing you to move incorrectly, generally too far, and shifting your weight too far out of balance. So you have the incorrect distance and incorrect body kamae to be able to close the distance correctly after that. So what we want to work on today is progressive impact training. Progressive impact training is learning how to receive impact in the form of a punch, a kick, a slap, a push, or whatever, and being able to train ourselves to not flinch in the face of receiving that impact, learning how the body works so that it can receive the impact, stepping up the intensity of that impact up to a high level, and then learning to move away from the impact gradually so that you have control once again of your primary distance, so that you're right up to the point of danger but not in the path of danger. The progression that we're going to be using is going to go from essentially just touching to pushing to light striking, medium striking to heavy striking. There's two exercises. One's going to be directed at the chest-shoulder region, and the other one is going to be directed at the face. The chest-shoulder region we're going to talk about first, and we're going to use it because you want to use the meaty part of the chest as a safety valve, so that if your partner gets a little too crazy or your movement isn't quite good, the most you end up with is a light bruise and not a broken nose. So in the first exercise, you're going to stand in front of your partner. Your partner's going to place his fist against the meaty part of your right chest, your right pectoral muscle. With his hand there, have him push. What you're going to feel is the force of his push shoving you back. You want to relax so that you don't end up being shoved completely back, but just your right shoulder moves backwards, which means that you have to loosen up your lower back. You have to let your stance become a little bit more relaxed. Breathe deeply and fully and relax into this. So your partner is pushing through your chest right there, which is in turn going to move your right shoulder. To understand this movement, your left shoulder should come forward equal to the amount that your right shoulder moves back. In essence, you want to slip the impact of your partner's push. So as he pushes against your chest, you let it move the right side of your body out of the way by rotating around your spine. Remember, to keep your spine perpendicular to the ground. As you rotate around your spine, your left shoulder will come forward, leaving you in place, but having the impact moved beyond you. Now, it's also crucial that your knees are flexed, your ankles are flexed, and that you're sinking into the ground as the push comes. For when the impact starts to go up, you're going to find that you actually end up having to take a short falling step back to receive some of the impact. This is fine. But remember, our goal is, as he hits through us, we receive the impact and let our body collapse around it, but not collapse in a way that affects our kamae, collapse rotationally. So we're essentially spiraling down into the ground, coiling ourselves, which of course is going to give us a powerful, coiled kamae that will allow us to counter-strike if we so choose. So now that we've got the proper position for our partner, we understand that we're going to be rotating around our spine, spiraling down into the ground and coiling. We want our partner to step up the intensity. So now we're going to go from pushing through with the fist to actually striking with the fist. Start lightly at first, so there's just a light tap, but your partner is still pushing through. You want to feel what it's like to receive impact that punches through your body, not just going up to the surface of your skin and lightly slapping and stepping back. You want the impact to go through at this point. So, as you feel comfortable, increase the speed of the punch. Increase the speed of your absorption. So progress as you feel comfortable. I'd say over the course of 5 or 6 training sessions of this, and by the way, this drill should last no more than 4 or 5 minutes tops if you're going slow. Probably just a couple minutes if done correctly. The idea is that you want to become comfortable with receiving impact. The idea is not to teach yourself to stand there and get drilled full speed. So that's the first exercise. The second one has to deal with receiving impact to the face and specifically something coming at your eyes. Now in this one, it's really two-parter in itself. we're going to use the fingertips to direct force coming towards or near your eye. Now have your partner use his fingertips to poke at the area around your eyes. Make sure you don't accidentally poke each other in the eye. We don't want to cause an injury during the course of practicing a drill. So he's going to be poking around the areas of your eyes, next to your nose, your forehead. You want to learn to relax. So keep breathing while this is coming in. You're going to be blinking a lot, but even try to control the amount that you blink so that you can see where the attack is coming from. Once again, remember, the goal of this is not to train yourself to stand there and take a poke in the eye. It's to keep from flinching and jerking your head off balance so that your kamae gets destroyed. We want to be able to keep good kamae all the time. This is likening the development of fudoshin, or the immovable heart. The idea of the immovable heart is that you stay cool under fire. So someone poking at your eyes is being under fire. Now we want to have your partner start lightly slapping your cheeks, slapping your forehead, so that you're actually receiving light impacts. They're quite annoying, and at first you're going to be like, oh, this is irritating. But the development of this fudoshin is to move through that so that you can actually stand there and be relaxed while you're receiving it. Most people will not find this enjoyable. Some will, but that's a whole different subject. So now you're receiving these light slaps to the face. Now we're going to increase the tempo of this as well, increase the speed of impact. So instead of having 2 slaps or slapping lightly, repeatedly fast, have your partner perform 1 slap, but with a little bit more effort. You want to have the similar type body motion to receive an impact with your shoulder. Now you're going to let your head turn, let your chin turn with the impact, let your body turn with the impact, so that your whole body is receiving this impact, not just your face. So as you feel comfortable over the course of time, progressively increase the strength with which your partner strikes you. Now, if you begin to have an idea of how to receive this, this is the level 1 training of this progressive impact training. Level 1. Level 1 is actually standing in place and essentially receiving the full force of the impact. Next, we want to start moving ourselves, adjusting our distance so that we're not receiving the full force of the impact. The goal of this is to do the same type of movement but be back maybe 2 inches so that when the strike comes for your chest, for instance, you're actually receiving it just at the end of the punch so that his force is essentially dissipated. He's still making contact, but he's just touching you. You're not receiving the impact of the force, he's just touching you. So you've moved back enough that your body dynamics stay the same. Your partner hits you as hard as he wants, essentially, but it's not having the same impact on you. In other words, you're not receiving the brunt. This is level 2. You're moving back where you're still getting hit, but the force is not there. This is something you're going to have to play with, and once again, it's progressively trained. So do it a little bit at a time. Level 3 is moving back further yet to where your partner reaches a full extension on the punch, feeling that he can hit you, when in reality you are just past the range of his punch, or just past his ability to slap your face. Okay, and of course you can apply this drill to a kick to the midsection, a punch to the midsection, punches to the backs. In fact, you should practice receiving impact from all different directions to all different parts of your body. Remember to be careful. The goal is not to actually learn to get kicked in the groin area full force so that you can just stand there and take it, but to learn to move back to where your partner or your opponent thinks that he can land the attack upon you, and you have the confidence that if he does land the attack, you can take it, but you know from training that you actually aren't going to get hit. So to encapsulate, you can develop any exercise. There are 3 phases of this exercise of impact resistance training. It is receiving the full force of the impact, level 1. Level 2 is receiving the impact at the end where the force has gone out of it, and level 3 being just past the impact so that you don't receive any of the force, but your opponent feels like he can make you, which once again ties back in with finding that perfect primary distance. So this is a very necessary practice. It also is necessary just in terms of getting used to being hit. If you read the Kutaki board lately, there's a lot of talking about how you test what you know. And this is a part of it. People want to know what it's like to actually get hit and how you respond under fire and so on and so forth. This is a methodology for training through the fear of getting hit to develop the Fudoshin. So until next time, enjoy your training. I'm Rob Renner. You can contact me once again at mindwrench@gmail.com or private message me at the Kutaki website. Thanks.
A bit repetitive maybe, but I really like it a lot. That is more music from free music at music.podshow.com. And that one is That's the Dro from ABE. And ABE stands for Anthems of a Bygone Era. Look them up if you like it, and I'm sure they have more good stuff on there. It's time now for my conversation with Eva last night. I was talking to Eva a bit about her trip to Japan. And in the middle of the conversation, we had a surprise visit from Sar Harel from Israel, who's staying downstairs at the Tenchiyama apartments here. So he came in and joined us for a bit of impromptu conversation. And it was a bit late at night, and we were tired and crazy after training, so it's a bit humorous in points, but Eva gets a good chance to talk about some things that she discovered and experienced in her 2 weeks here in Japan. So we'll get to hear from her. Here's that segment.
So, have you thought of anything sophisticated to say?
If you ask, I answer.
Okay. Well, let's see. It's 10 minutes to 2 on the night of Thursday, August 17th, 2006.
Yes, and it's lightning outside.
Wow. And how long have you been here now?
This is the 15th day, and tomorrow will be the 16th.
Tomorrow will be the 16th day.
Yes.
That's very interesting. Quite a sophisticated question. Well, how have you enjoyed your trip so far? I mean, so far it's almost finished, but it is finished tomorrow. But I mean, how have you enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it very much. It was quite tiring mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Physically not, which is very surprising because I took 2-3 days trainings a day.
Mm-hmm.
And of course back at home I cannot take so many trainings because I have my everyday duties and such.
Mm-hmm.
And I always get more tired and exhausted, but this time I was just kind of full of energy, and it's also because of the way we trained here.
Mm-hmm.
Different to how we train at home.
What's different about it?
It's maybe it would be too simple if I just wanted to describe it as softer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not simply softer here, but here I could feel more of the flow that the Shihans are usually talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So here the techniques themselves started to leave. So they weren't pure techniques or dead wazal, but actually leaving flow, or this is how I can describe it.
Mm-hmm. And is there any one particular thing about any of the trainings that kind of stuck out in your mind? Beside that point, I mean, is there anything specific that you heard one of the teachers say, or that you experienced in a class that kind of like will be your kind of big memory, or your big kind of like idea light bulb in your mind that went on?
Yes, actually it was. I'm sure there were a few, but the latest one I can remember was today. During the whole 2 weeks, I was kind of flying. I mean, I felt that I really managed to catch the feeling, and I could go with the flow and had a taste of what is this whole thing about.
Yeah.
And but today I had an uke who's been very cruel to me, not physically, but mentally. He pointed out my mistakes in the basics, and I had to realize how much I still missed and how much I still have to work on in the very basics. So I kind of went back down to the ground again.
Well, it's good to be taken down a few notches sometimes, especially if you're getting advice from somebody who's a good senior partner with good experience, and whose opinion you can kind of trust. So I hope it was somebody like that, and not somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, who's giving you
Actually, this guy was a local guy, and he's been training for 20 years, and he has a really great movement, at least by what I experienced throughout these 2 weeks, and during my years back.
Yeah. So cool. Well, you had a good opportunity to train with somebody like as a partner who was pretty experienced then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you find that you had a lot of opportunity to train with with experienced people as partners during your trip here, or during most of the classes? Would you say that you were partnered up with, say, like less experienced people who might also be visiting, or like what did you get to train with a wide variety of different like experience levels, or how did that go?
Yeah, it's I had a chance to practice with many people, and the most experienced people were the Shihans, of course.
Yeah.
But usually, as far as I noticed, everyone had something to work on.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't see anyone with such great abilities which would elevate the person on the really sophisticated or high level.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was quite experienced and advanced student. So I'm not saying that they weren't good, no, not at all. But it was obvious that we all are learning this art, and we all have our own things to work on. Maybe something else for me, something else for you, another thing for a third person. But as far as I saw, there were people with the same level of understanding, I think.
Yeah.
So I didn't see such big differences. Yeah.
And this was your first time to Japan, right?
Yes.
And how did you find training in the different classes with the language barrier, where the teachers are speaking Japanese and you don't speak much Japanese, I think. So, I mean, during Hatsumi-sensei's classes, there's usually translation in that. But what about the other classes that you went to?
For example, during Noguchi-sensei's classes, if I remember well, there were no translators, and but it was easy to understand because the movement speaks for itself. The movement of the Shihan, I think, at least for me, and I didn't find it such a problem. I mean, the language barriers. So I think it's absolutely cool. So if somebody is hesitant about coming to Japan just because of the language problems, I would say no, just come, because it is absolutely understandable, everything that they do and say. The movements speak for themselves.
And sometimes people, there's been a few discussions actually on Kutaki as well about whether or not you should have a certain kind of experience level before you come to Japan, if you should be like a shodan, or at least a certain dan grade or whatever before you come to Japan, because then you can get more out of your trip or this kind of thing. What do you think about that?
I think one shouldn't wait for reaching a certain level. If he or she has the commitment and the wish, or if he or she feels the need to step forward and come to Japan, I think it is really necessary to pack up and come. And I think everyone can gain something from this trip, irrespective of the level. I remember when I first saw Hatsumi Sensei, it was in 1999 in Germany at the Taikai, and I was around, I don't know, maybe 8Q or something, and I remember that I didn't quite understand what he did. Actually, when he finished the technique and the presentation, and we had to do our own things, I was just looking around and tried to catch what he was doing and what is it about. But still, I could I could understand something at least. Now as I came back and I have some kind of experience behind me, it's not a huge experience, but still more than before, I could gain much more. So I think it's also true that the more experience you have, the more you can gain from this trip.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be a problem.
Hi. Sir, welcome to the Kutaki no Ha podcast interview with Eva.
I'm interviewing now.
Yeah, now we can interview you too.
Oh man, I'm not. Wait, get me that close.
Oh yeah, I guess you better get dressed before we interview you.
Yes.
How do you record it?
Well, there's this little red device. I know you probably don't have MP3 recorders in Israel because of the low technology there.
Yeah, and the camels.
The camels, yeah.
We don't have any cars either. But that's why I'm in jiu-jitsu so good, because we fight with swords and arrows.
Oh, cool. Just like the old days.
Yeah. Not really.
I was just talking to Eva about her last 2 weeks in Japan and all the things she thought about those 2 weeks. And maybe when I play the recording back for you, you can tell me if you think she was right or wrong.
Like everything we say now is going to be in the podcast?
Well, we could edit it if you really want
to.
Or
like, can it be like a clown like a usual?
Oh, totally can be clownish.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. Depends on what you are going to say in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah. Eva might want to, edit out some of the things you have to say.
Would they hear the whiskey pouring in the podcast?
Oh, yes.
They could. Would they hear the beep pouring? The water? I could turn the word whiskey into the word water. I can do that. I can be like Jesus. I can turn whiskey into water.
Wow.
Instead of water into wine. Actually, we all turn whiskey into water, don't we? Because we drink it one night and get up the next morning and then.
Oh, kind of water, yeah. Pure, but yeah, true. The liver is actually unique. No machine that human made can duplicate its action.
Really?
You have to have a fucking huge room with a lot of machines to do what one liver can do, all the processes it does.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that, and I'm sure most of the rest of the people listening to this podcast
really
didn't know
care.
that either. I'm sure they care because it's very interesting what a liver can do to whiskey.
Yeah, we have to leave it
to whiskey and to the I don't know how to say it in English. When you stress, run or something like that, the muscles produce milk
toxins.
The milk acid milk.
Yeah. Okay.
In Hebrew, that's the translation. It's kind of a circle. It's called crab's circle.
Crab's circle.
I don't know in English. I learned it in Hebrew, but yeah, it's quite amazing though. It does manipulation, in the matter level.
Matter of fact?
No, atom.
Atomic level.
Yeah, it changes amazing.
What does the liver?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, I don't remember it,
I wish
but
I
you have
had
to
one.
see a liver. Damn, that Japanese guy with a fork. What the kid?
Yeah, no,
do
he
you
has
want to
to.
ask me serious questions?
What?
Okay, do you want to ask me serious questions?
No, I want to ask Eva more serious questions.
Shit.
Hey, do you have any questions for Eva? You could do a tag team interview.
But
you could.
Why? Why?
Oh no.
Why did you?
Why are the sky blue?
These questions don't have answers.
Was it worth it?
Yes.
That was a complicated question.
That's it. That's what matters.
That's what
Yes,
really matters.
Actually, I just finished the talk with literature back home and stuff. Kind of mainly told me that as long as I'm learning and enjoying myself, that's what matters. Stuff and all this.
Cool.
Japan kind of weird stuff.
Japan kind of weird stuff.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing about Japan for you?
Dude, there's a Canadian guy here.
That's weird. What about you, Eva? What's the weirdest thing about Japan for you?
The weirdest thing?
Yeah.
The way girls can dress up. Really? The way girls can dress up.
What do you mean?
I mean the fashion. It's quite weird for me.
The
At
fashion is weird.
Yes.
Why is it? What's weird about it?
I just don't find the taste in it.
It's not quite up to the Hungarian standards.
Yes, it's kind of a subjective thing, I know. But no, really. And it's also weird for me that at least by my own imagination, previous imagination, I thought that Japanese people are kind of reserved. I mean, on the surface they are friendly and respectful and everything, but kind of reserved. Still keep the distance.
Yeah.
And they kind of control themselves.
Yeah.
With the social in the social interaction.
Yeah.
But when they are out of their jobs, or when they go out, they can completely lose their mind and go free, and they don't care about anything. And this is such a controversial, or maybe not controversial thing to me, but these are two opposite sides, and this change is quite big. I mean,
Can we disagree with that?
You can,
You
but
can?
I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, what you say, totally right.
Yeah.
Actually, I heard there's nothing like Japanese air conditioning. Hint.
Oh, you want to move into the cool room?
There's no like here aircon that can.
There's my cool room is over there. You're welcome to partake if you so desire.
To what?
Partake. To share in the coolness.
Like if I open the door, the coolness will share.
No, the door's open. It's right through there.
Which
But
means
be
that the
there,
coolness
not
is
be
still
here.
not here, so you
The
have to
coolness
go.
is still not there. I hear
And
you have to go
you
there.
will be cool too.
Even you can be cool, sir.
Yes, thank you.
I know it's hard to believe.
Can I like dress like a Canadian guy and then?
Sure, I have another one of these shirts. Do you want one?
I did have like a lot of important interaction with Canadians.
Oh, really?
James, that was
Yeah.
it. Hi, James.
Hi, James.
Hi, James.
Hi, James.
Hello.
Do you know if James listens to the podcast?
I don't know.
He will now.
He will.
You will know.
James was mentioned on the Kutaki podcast.
Yes, he does.
Behind his back.
He does. He downloaded some of the new
Yeah,
episodes.
he did.
Really?
To the
It's a
iPod,
shame I
yes.
didn't get a chance to interview him before he left.
Yes, I know that because he just made the whole computer froze down.
Yeah, the iPod connection kind of fucked up.
No.
Yeah. He was cool. James, you're cool, dude, although you don't have facial expression. I still like you very much.
Well, let's see what we're gonna do with this segment.
No.
Wait. So getting back to Eva here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, so you did like at least two classes a day for the 15 days, basically. So okay, so you did about 30 classes.
Whew, that much? Probably, yes.
So of the 30 classes that you can remember, I'm sure you can remember all of them.
All the techniques.
Yeah. Of all of the techniques, just out of the 30 classes that you did, which one would you say was your favorite class?
Whew, this is the most difficult question.
Yes.
Sir.
I thought I'd put you on the spot here and really challenge your ability to answer.
Considering that we had different classes with different shihans, each shihan conducted a different kind of class, and I think all of them is needed for someone who's coming to Japan to see the real thing from the source, because one shihan emphasizes the basics and accurate movement and everything. The another one emphasizes the flow, the continuous flow without stopping. Another one emphasizes the correct timing and distance, maybe. Another one is more emphasized on powerful techniques. Another one on the softness. And I think each of these are necessary for one to develop each of these skills. And you have to find a balance when you try to build up your own, not build up your own style, but when you try to catch a feeling of all these, the balance of these. So that's why I cannot choose, because I've learned so many things from each class, from each instructor.
And will you be coming back again soon?
If I live to see, yes.
If you live to see, do you expect to have a short lifespan for some reason?
One can never know.
One can never. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I already lost so many
What
friends.
airline do you take?
If life allows me to come back shortly, I will. I plan to come in 1 year again. I'm pretty sure I cannot come earlier because of the financial issues. But I think once a year I want to come because if I want to keep up the training with these instructors, I will just sink back.
Yeah.
Kind of sink back to the previous style or level of my understanding and practice. So it will just get dirty again and it will need some polishing again.
Yeah. Well, it's been great having you over for the last 2 weeks.
Whoa, thank you.
Finally, you get to see Japan firsthand.
Oh, yes.
And look forward to seeing you again next year.
I try my best.
And please continue to entertain and inform everyone on the forums
We are doing.
with your wonderful posts.
Whoa, thank you.
So once again, that was Eva from Hungary and Sara from Israel. Eva's been a real regular on the Bujinkan IRC channel and the Kutaki Nomura website for quite a while, and she's also the one that did the graphics for the Kutaki no Ha podcast page at www.kutaki.org/podblog. So I'd like to thank her for all the hard work she's done on that, and now she's finally been able to star on the show as well. So, Eva, I hope you had a great trip over here and a safe trip back to Hungary, and kick some butt at home for everybody, and good luck to you. While we were just mentioning the Kutaki no Ha podcast page, I just wanted to remind people that there is a link from there to the voting page. Remember that voting page? Is at Podcast Alley, and if you just click on the Podcast Alley link there, it will take you directly to the podcastalley.com voting page. And as of right now, our votes for August are 8. Okay, only 8. Now I know for a fact that there are at least 50 people who are subscribed to this podcast, so that means only like 1/8 of the listeners are voting. Now, wouldn't you agree that that's kind of pathetic? I mean, come on, guys. It's just a little click, in your web browser, and you just cruise on over to Podcast Alley, and you just vote there. You just click on this thing that says Vote Now. It's quite elementary and easy. Right now, the podcasts are this podcast, the Kutaki no Ha podcast, monthly rank is 376. So we are ranked 376th for the month of August. But you know what? There actually aren't such a humongous number of podcasts out there that a few votes doesn't make a difference. And, if actually only like a third of the listeners were to vote, I bet anything we would go down into the 200s, or maybe even crack the 200 mark and go down into the 100s if a few people were to vote. So I appreciate any votes and comments that you want to give on that page. Your comments are also more than welcome on the show notes section of the Kutaki no Ha podblog page as well, kutaki.org/podblog. You can leave comments on any episode that you see there. As well, there are flash players built into the web page that you can just click on and listen to the episodes right in the web browser. So, よろしくお願いします。Please treat me kindly, as they say in Japanese. We're winding up to the end of the podcast. It's actually been quite a long episode, so I hope you enjoyed it and it was worth your time to download it and your bandwidth. I got to wrap it up to leave for the dojo here in a few minutes. So thanks again for listening, and see you again next time. Hopefully next week. We'll try to get the next one out next week. So until then, take care. Sayonara.